a short program by Writers Unlimited, which is the organization that make the Winternachten Literature Festival. Winternachten Literature Festival is the biggest literature festival in Europe, and it takes place here in this city, in The Hague. It's in January, and you're all welcome. But for now, we have a short program introducing a Dutch poet from The Hague, but with an international horizon. He will perform some of his own poems, but also some English poems that he has chosen to perform today as poems that inspired him during his own life. I'm very honored to introduce to you Max Lerou.
Yay!
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you all. It truly is a great honor to be given the opportunity to bring poetry to this international stage. If anything, it is literature and poetry that through the miracle we call language has the ability to connect. As I was asked to also read some poetry of my favorite poets, it seems only fair that out of respect I share an equal part with the poet whom I consider to be the greatest poet of all time, Mr. Dylan Thomas. He passed away on the age of only 39 in the year 1953, the year water, the very same in which I was born. And it has always been my greatest fantasy that it was almost as if he was saying, all right, now Max has arrived, I can safely step aside. Of course, it is merely fantasy, a rather bold one at that, for which I beg your pardon. I will now read my first poem called Oriental Scars, a scandalous story about Dutchmen in Bangkok. Son of Chainsaw is doing Bangkok by night. In shorts without shirt, he's such a sorry sight. He came for music, money, fame, and then some. But right now he's horny, desperate to come. His eyes getting misty, his vision all blurred. Sonny's upstairs with floor show cum all over his shirt. He can't stop ogling pussy as guzzling Mekong, while the ladies play a different kind of ping-pong. Fucked up, he wakes up in quite an eerie soy, doesn't know where he is, and if she was a boy, the sucker is afraid and yells for a tuk-tuk, his mind screaming AIDS, wanker, shanker, shook, shook. Meanwhile, in Crow's Nest down Sukhumvit Road, Atom Heart's mother shoots his sorry little load. While the creepy old bastard is doing his maid junior house, for never again shall he get laid. The mother is a mystery in his own right. Word has it, he's offspring from Jekyll and Hyde. He made his home in Bangkok like a mole in Club Med. Little sunlight ever shone on this dirty old cat. Scared shitless, Sonny crawls towards Atom Heart's lair, tells mother he's screwed but doesn't know where. He whimpers and whines that he really needs to know when those bloody symptoms of soy cowboy will show. And mother is just laughing as they head for the bars, says he too got his deal of Oriental scars. Life's mystery is complex and chaos the rule. Atom Heart's beat could change the weather in Kabul. With identities twisted and an overcast mind, they think all their sorrows are left way behind. Forgotten are pet pong drip and terminal terme leak as reality slips the door to hide and seek. The son and the mother gonna make it together, all dressed up in python boots and camouflage leather. Forget about them being thick as a brick. In the end, it was the son of a bitch doing the trick. My next poem is about a wonderful Shaima el-Sabah. As the Egyptian revolution of 2011 was being celebrated, Shaima A 31-year-old mother and poet was shot dead by masked riot police in January 2015. She was heading to Tahrir Square to lay flowers to those who she lost on the way to freedom. And my poem for her is called Descending. Like water, life will reach the low. It's inevitable. From where they know no rising, she lies still. Is she comfortable? Does it soothe her senses? We want to know, but they tell us nothing from the stillness on the landing. Her gaze has an angle we have not seen before. Is she a swan in disguise? We'd understand this shape. Then where is the water? There is no water. What kept her afloat? Did it go where she went? Did it follow her? So now I have arrived at the first poem I selected out of the work of Dylan Thomas. It somehow follows naturally after the poem I read for Shaima. And this poem is titled, Among Those Killed in the Dawn Raid Was a Man Aged 100. When the morning was waking over the war, he put on his clothes and stepped out, and he died. The locks yawned loose, and the blast blew them wide. He dropped where he loved on the burst pavement stone and the funeral grains of the slaughtered floor. Till his street on its back, stopped the sun, and the craters of his eyes grew spring shoots and fire when all the keys shot from the locks and rang. Dig no more for the chains of his grey-haired heart. The heavenly ambulance drawn by a wound, assembling waits for the spades ring on the cage. Oh, keep his bones away from that common cart. The morning is flying on the wings of his age, and 100 storks perch on the sun's right hand. Next poem is called Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave man near death who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse. Bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Let's go to the asylum. There's a lot of love in the asylum. A stranger has come to share my room in the house, not right in the head. A girl mad as birds, bolting the night of the door with her arms, her plume. Straight in the mazed bed, she deludes the heaven-proof house with entering clouds. Yet she deludes with walking the nightmare's room, at large as the dead, or rides the imagined oceans of the wards. She has come possessed, who admits the delusive light through the bouncing wall, possessed by the skies. She sleeps in a narrow trough, yet she walks the dust, yet raves at her will on the madhouse born thill by my walking tears. And taken by light in her arms at long and dear last, I may, without fail, suffer the first vision that set fire to the stars. If I were tickled by the rub of love, a rooking girl who stole me for her sight, broke through her straws, breaking my bandage string. If the red tickle as the cattle calf still set to scratch a laughter from my lung, I would not fear the apple nor the flood, nor the bad blood of spring. Shall it be male or female, say the cells, and drop the plum like fire from the flesh? If I were tickled by the hatching hair, the winging bone that sprouted in the heels, the itch of man upon the baby thigh, I would not fear the aloes, or the axe, nor the crossed sticks of war. Shall it be male or female, say the fingers that chalk the walls with green fingers, and their man? I could not fear the muscling in of love if I were tickled by the urchin hungers, rehearsing heat upon the rave-aged nerve. I would not fear the devil in the loin, nor the outspoken grave. If I were tickled by the lover's rub that wipes away not crow's foot, nor the look of sick old manhood on the fallen jaws, time and the crabs and the sweethearting crib would leave me cold as butter for the flies. The sea of scums could drown me as it broke dead on the sweetheart toes. This world is half the devil's and my own, daft with a drug that's smoking in a girl and curling round the bud that forks her eye. An old man's shank, one marrowed with my bone, an old herring smelling in the sea. I sit and watch the worm beneath my nail, wearing the quick away. And that's the rub, the only rub that tickles. The knobbly ape that swings along his sex from damp love darkness, and the nurse's twist can never raise the midnight of a chuckle. Nor when he finds a beauty in the breast of lover, mother, lovers, or his 6 feet in the rubbing dust. And what's the rub? Death's feather on the nerve, your mouth, my love, the thistle in the kiss, my Jack of Christ born thorny on the tree. The words of death are drying than his stiff. My wordy wounds are printed with your hair. I would be tickled by the rub that is. Man, be my metaphor. And so far, thank you for your attention. Have a good fun today and tomorrow. Hope to see you next year. Goodbye. Thank you.
We will not. We will more.